Islam, 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 Islam. Happy holy day, Islam. First, we're going to start off this meeting. Well, Islam, more than meetings being called to order. So, first, start with our royal renaissance. This unity that we, the sons and daughters of the ancient Moabite blood, have established upon these shores of northwest Mexico in this alien civilization shall be preserved at all costs with the bonds of Ali's holy and divine laws. And if we violate these universal laws or principles by preferring a stranger before thy own sacred blood, then may the flaming swords of our forefathers turn upon us the wrath of Allah and strike us down 7 times. We pledge our allegiance to Prophet Noble Drew Ali under love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. Time never was. Islam. Islam, Islam, Islam. We're now going to do a reading of our divine constitution and bylaws. Islam. So we get those up on the screen. Salvation, Allah, unity. The Moorish Science Temple of America, the divine constitution and bylaws. Act 1. The Grand Sheikh and the chairman of the Moorish Science Temple of America is empowered to make law and enforce laws with the assistance of the Prophet and the grand body of the Moorish Science Temple of America. The assistant Grand Sheikh is to assist the Grand Sheikh in all affairs if he lives according to love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice, and it is known before the members of the Moorish Science Temple of America. Act 2. All meetings are to be open and closed promptly, according to the Circle 7 in love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. Friday is our holy day of rest, because on a Friday the first man was formed in flesh, and on a Friday the first man departed out of flesh and ascended unto his Father God Allah. For that cause, Friday is the holy day for all Muslims all over the world. Act 3. Love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice must be proclaimed and practiced by all members of the Moorish Science Temple of America. No member is to put in danger or accuse falsely his brother or sister on any occasion at all that may harm his brother or sister, because Allah is love. Act 4. All members must preserve these holy and divine laws, and all members must obey the laws of the government, because by being a Moorish American, you are a part and partial of the government and must live life accordingly. Act 5. This organization of the Moorish Science Temple of America is not to cause any confusion or to overthrow the laws and constitution of the said government, but to obey hereby. Act 6. With us, all members must proclaim their nationality, and we are teaching our people their nationality and their divine creed, that they may know that they are a part and a partial of this said government, and know that they are not Negroes, colored folks, black people, or Ethiopians, because these names were given to slaves by slave holders in 1779 and lasted until 1865 during the time of slavery. But this is a new era of time now, and all men now must proclaim their free national name to be recognized by the government in which they live and the nations of the earth. This is the reason why Allah, the great God of the universe, ordained Noble Drew Ali, the prophet, to redeem his people from their sinful ways. The Moorish Americans are the descendants of the ancient Moabites who inhabited the northwestern and southwestern shores of Africa. Act 7. Promptly attend their meetings and become a part and partial of all uplifting acts of the Moorish Science Temple of America. Members must pay their dues and keep in line with all necessities of the Moorish Science Temple of America. Then you're faithful. Husband, you must support your wife and children. Wife, you must obey your husband and take care of your children and look after the duties of your household. Sons and daughters must obey father and mother and be industrious and become a part of the uplifting of fallen humanity. Moorish Americans must keep their hearts and minds pure with love and their bodies clean with water. This divine covenant is from your holy prophet, Noble Drew Ali, through the guidance of his Father God, Allah. We have Noble Drew Ali, who's the founder, and then we have our Moorish American prayer, which we already recited, so Islam. But Islam, happy holy day. Peace and love to everybody. First, I rise, I give complete and perfect praise to Allah, who is the author, the creator, the governor of the world, almighty, eternal, and incomprehensible. Honor to his illustrious prophet, Noble Drew Ali, for restoring our nationality and our birthrights here and bringing that truth to us. Honors to the harbinger, Marcus Messiah Garvey, for paving the way. Honors to all past and present and future leaders of the Moorish Science Temple of America. Honors to all the true and divine prophets, namely Jesus, Muhammad, Buddha, and Confucius. We give honor to them for bringing us the principles of love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice, and clear instructions on how to obtain those. Honors to the charters, to the flags. Honors to Elevate the Family Entertainment for bringing it, for creating this space for us to come in and have these meetings that we're not going to be having them again every Friday. And it's kind of, we're going to call it what it is. This is an elevated mind. This is an elevated path, or I'm sorry, not elevated. What's the word I'm looking for? Enlightened. We're looking for the enlightened path. And for those who are on this journey in this path of enlightenment, and that's where you go through what we call consciousness. Some of us call it consciousness. Some people call it being woke. Some people call it gaining knowledge of truth. Some people call it downloads, all types of different things. But honest to all of you who are participating, because that's what we're here to do. So tonight's lessons and instruction is going to be centered around unity. And we have a chapter in our Holy Quran of the Moorish Science Temple of America. I'm going to read and demonstrate on, just to encourage and give us some guidance around how we can demonstrate more unity as a people. Okay. Now, this is from the Holy Quran of the Moorish Science Temple of America. The logo, Circle 7. It's divinely prepared by the noble prophet Drew Ali, by the guiding of his father God Allah, the great God of the universe, to redeem man from his sinful and fallen stage of humanity back to the highest plane of life with his father God Allah. So just understand in context, that is what this work we're about to dig into, that's the intentions. It's to bring us, it's to redeem us from our sinful and fallen stage of humanity back to the highest plane of life. So everything, let's work on that. That's what we're talking about tonight. Listen, how does unity play into us getting back? Or what instruction do we have around unity? So when you open it up, it says, know thyself and Allah, the genealogy of Jesus, life and works of Jesus in India, Europe, and Africa, and the land of Egypt. It's by Noble Drew Ali, the prophet and founder of the Moorish Science Temple of America, to redeem the people from their sinful ways. And Sultan Abdul Aziz ibn Saud, the descendant of Hagar, now the head of the holy city of Mecca. That is in the beginning of our Holy Quran. And I'm going to go right to chapter 26. That's the point tonight. And that's what we want to highlight. Unity. What is it? How do we obtain it? What tips and secrets or strategies can we take to get to unity? So I'm going to read the chapter in its entirety, and then I'm going to go back and just speak on a few of the instructions to provide some context and clarity around how we can carry these instructions out. So these are the divine instructions from the Holy Prophet. And I believe this will apply to anybody that's seeking unity in your life. In any area of life, this is applicable. But instruction 1, the gifts of the understanding are the treasures of Allah, and he appointed to everyone his portion, in what measure seemeth good unto himself. Hath he endowed thee with wisdom? Hath he enlightened thy mind with the knowledge of truth? Communicate it to the ignorant for their instruction. Communicate it to the wise for thine own improvement. True wisdom is less presuming than folly. The wise man doubteth often and changeth his mind. The fool is obstinate. The fool is obstinate and the fool is obstinate and doubteth not. He knoweth all things but his own ignorance. The pride of emptiness is an abomination, and to talk much is the foolishness of folly. Nevertheless, it is the part of wisdom to hear with patience their impertinence, and to pity their absurdities. Yet, be not puffed up in thine own conceit, neither boast of superior understanding. The clearest human knowledge is but blindness and folly. The wise man feeleth his imperfections and is humbled. He laboreth in vain for his own approbation. But the fool peepeth in the shadow streams of his own mind, and is pleased with the pebbles which he sees at the bottom. He bringeth them up and showeth them as pearls, and with the applause of his brethren delighteth himself. He boasteth of attainments in things that are of no worth. But where it is a shame to be ignorant, there he hath no understanding. Even in the path of wisdom he toileth after folly. And shame and disappointment are the reward of his labor. But the wise man cultivates his mind with knowledge. The improvement of the arts is his delight, and their utility to the public crowneth with honor. Nevertheless, the attainment of virtue he accounteth as the highest learning, and the science of happiness is the study of his life. Islam, Islam, Islam. Let me commentate and go over some of these instructions and hammer some points around this, because we're talking about unity. And this is a message for those that are what we like to call the enlightened paths, those that are on this path with us. If you can hear the sound of my voice, you are on a journey of enlightenment. However you got here. If you hear anybody, wisdom speaks from the highest plane of life. Anytime you hear anybody speak from their higher self, particularly a vibration that's just good and it's positive and it's uplifting with the purest of intent, that's what we call holy breath. Excuse me. It's important that we all take heed when it's being delivered. And it don't just come through me, it comes through everybody. Because Allah can use any and every one of us. Now, we know some of us have different names for Allah, okay? Some call him Jehovah, Zeus, God, the universe, the Most High, but we talk about the same source, so let's not debate over rhetoric. But let me go back and elaborate on some of these instructions that we just read as it relates to us obtaining unity. The first one, the gifts of the understanding are the treasures of Allah. So, the gifts of the understanding. Understanding deals with comprehension. When we begin to comprehend and understand the inner workings of this world, the outer work, the inner work, and all of how the world works, and really begin to comprehend it, to understand it, not overstand it and understand it, and not all of that. No disrespect to those who like to believe in that rhetoric, and I get it. But right now, we're just talking about simple understanding, simple comprehension. That comes as a treasure from Allah. This universal Allah is wisdom, will, and love. So it's wisdom, it's will, and it's love that blesses us to understand things, to understand each other, to understand our circumstances. So as we're talking about unity, that's one of the first steps is understanding. Open your heart to understanding. And then the second part of that instruction, it says, and he appointed to everyone his portion in what measure seemeth good unto himself. So we all have different portions of understanding that Allah gave us. And we see the world differently because we were raised at different points in time, and we grew up in different environments. We were subjected to different external stimuli. We got all types of things that contributed to us being distinct and unique as a people. But at the same time, understand that we're all different. And ain't nothing wrong with children. We respect that just like you should, and vice versa. And the second part of this instruction, the second instruction, it says, hath he endowed thee with wisdom? So that's questioning about the one we call, I call him Allah, the great God. But has he endowed you with wisdom? Has he? So if you got wisdom, you notice where it came from. Then the second thing, the next part of that instruction, it says, hath he enlightened thy mind with the knowledge of truth? Hath he enlightened thy mind? Has your mind been enlightened with the knowledge of truth? And after you answer those two questions, it tells you what to do. It says to communicate it to the ignorant for their instruction, communicate it to the wise for thine own improvement. So if you have a level of understanding and comprehension around something, that's a gift that you got from the Most High, Allah, the great God. And you are supposed to communicate that to the ignorant for their instructions. So people who are ignorant in whatever the space is that you're interested in, that has a uplifting element to humanity, that helps elevate the family, anything positive that's going to help create a better society for us. And if you got that, if it came directly from Allah, directly from the great God, guess what? Communicate it to the ignorant for their instructions. Then it goes on to say, communicate it to the wise for thine own improvements. So the wise people in your life that you may know, you got to go to them too with what you've been receiving. A popular phrase is a download. So if you get a download, right, if something just, if you just experience something and it taps into your Akash record, the next thing you know, you just start to know some things. These things you just know is different. And you can't quite explain where you got it from. Communicate it to the wise for thine own improvement. You'd be amazed of the wisdom that has been spread amongst the world. Because ain't nothing new under the sun. We just find our portion of the truth and we grow in our understanding of the truth. As we grow in understanding of the truth, we begin to accept the truth. And the truth is but one. There is no my truth, his truth, her truth. No, truth is but one. And we need to unify as a people. And these instructions give us clarity on how to do so, particularly for those that have the enlightened mind on this enlightened path. Because it's a path of it's a path of development, self-development. And as you grow and work on being harmonious with others and unifying, guess what? You're going to grow personally and professionally. We all do. We are. So let's keep it going. Now I'm going to skip down a couple of these instructions. I'm going to bounce around a little bit. Instruction 5, right? And it reads, yet be not puffed up in thine own conceit, neither boast of superior understanding. The clearest human knowledge is but blindness and folly. So that's a good instruction right there to remind us, don't get puffed up in your own conceit. Don't get conceited and get puffed up in what you know and what you think you know. Because all of us have something to learn and we're all growing. So don't ever boast. And that's the other thing. And then it says, neither boast of superior understanding. Don't boast that you may believe you have a superior understanding than another person. You may know how to do anything. I mean, something good, better than them, but guess what? They may have some science to help you improve it. The main thing is, as a people, let's not belittle people because they don't think like us. Let's not insult people because, hey, you don't believe the same thing I believe. And I love my people for who you are. I love me. And I give what I demand back, what I desire back. I'm sorry, because pure heart love without demanding love in return. But I love because I have to. Now, I got to read instruction 6 too, because it speaks to the wise man. And it says man, but man means mind. So this speaks to anybody that has a humble mind. But let me read it. The wise man filleth his imperfections and is humble. He laboreth in vain for his own approbation. But the fool peepeth in the shadow streams of his own mind and is pleased with the pebbles which he seeth at the bottom. So what is this talking about, man? Let me translate this in my portion of understanding. When you're a wise person, you feel your imperfections. You know you ain't perfect. Like, we ain't perfect. Nobody is. That's why we can see each other in the flesh. But when you have that wisdom, you have to be humbled. And then you have to labor in vain for your own approbation. In other words, you doing the work for you. I ain't trying to save the world. I ain't trying to save the nation. I'm trying to save myself. Because I'm the only one that can do it. And if I save myself, I can be an asset to society. I can help others. I can serve and help my brothers and my sisters and my friends and my family members. I even can serve my enemies some love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. But you can't do none of that if you're not humble. So first off, in our efforts to unify, be humble. You got to know we think different. It's okay. My understanding ain't superior. Your understanding ain't superior. I got what Allah gave me. You got what Jehovah gave you. You got what God gave you. You got what Buddha gave you. You got what, well, cool. So let's put it all together. Let's find out the good in it, because, you know, there's some good in everything. Let me read these last two. And it's still talking about the wise man. That's why I want to hit on this, because I believe we got a lot of wise ones listening, a lot of wise men and women and children listening. And if you have wisdom, that means that you're applying your knowledge. You're applying the things that you're learning. Having knowledge alone is not where it's at, but your application of it and your ability to execute it. And what we learn through Moorish science is that wisdom is the consciousness that Allah and man are one. Allah and man are one. The heaven and hell is not above, below, around, but within. Like, it's a state of mind. This is what wisdom is to those of us who are studying and applying these lessons, and we can begin to see that. And if you're new to this path, if you stay consistent, I can guarantee you're going to see the exact same thing, because this is a life of purity. This is a path that many are called, but few are chosen. You're chosen to be here and to study and to learn here in these sacred groves. These are ancient lessons that are going to uplift fallen humanity, and it's going to elevate the family. Because when the family, look, fallen humanity, we're talking about nationhood here. We're talking about a nation which starts with a family. That's the root of the nation. It's the family. So we elevate that family, elevate, uplift. It's all the same premise. But it required us to have understanding. It required us to communicate. It required us to be humble, because we do have different ideals as a people. But guess what? It's like a buffet. Pick what you want and keep it moving. It's that simple. If you don't like what somebody else is on, you don't like what they talking about, that's not for you, and that's okay. I know people in the politics. I know some are in the agriculture. I know some are in the education. Some are in the business. Some in the finance. Some in the construction. Pick something and let's unify. But it starts in the mind and communicating. Remember, to the wise and to the ignorant. Now, these last two instructions, right? It says, but the wise man cultivates his mind with knowledge. So let's talk about that. How are you cultivating? How are we cultivating our minds with knowledge? Because having the knowledge ain't enough. Saying I got this, I can do this, I understand this, that ain't nothing. But to cultivate it means to put it in practice. Application. Action is her delight. You act on what you got the knowledge in, and you go out there and you demonstrate it. That's how you cultivate your mind with knowledge. So whatever you're reading, whatever you're studying, put it to work. Don't just talk about it. Because remember, to talk much is the foolishness of folly. So it ain't about talking. We're not going to unify through talking. We're going to unify with action. And that's what we're trying to get to. Where we ain't going to say we're trying to get to. That's where we at. Now, back to this here. The wise man cultivates his mind with knowledge. The improvement of the arts is his delight. And their utility to the public crowned with honor. So the arts, right? Can we talk about the 7 liberal arts? What are the 7 liberal arts that every educational institution must teach in order to be classified as a university? And who did that come from? These 7 liberal arts consist of astronomy, geometry, arithmetic, music, dialect, rhetoric, and grammar. These are the arts that are used all around the world. Astronomy. Y'all know some folks study. Some folks love astronomy. It's a pretty big deal. It's impactful. Okay. The science of the zodiac. It's some real science. We ain't gonna get all deep into that right now, but we will in the near future. We're gonna bring a natal chart one day. We'll talk about that too. But astronomy is some serious business. Okay. Geometry. Sacred geometry. Come on now. It goes deep. Arithmetic, music, dialect, rhetoric, grammar. So now let me go back and read this again. The improvement of the arts is his delight. So as a wise man, our ability to improve these arts, we delight in that. We delight, meaning we enjoy it. We enjoy improving good quality music. We enjoy improving the understanding and application of the science of astronomy to ourselves. We understand geometry, and logos. And I think I done hammered that point enough. Y'all get my point. But these are areas that we can focus on individually and collectively because everybody has a piece to contribute to this. Instruction 10. Nevertheless, the attainment of the virtue he accounteth as the highest learning, and the science of happiness is the study of his life. Excuse me. Man, I want to think about that and let's talk about these instructions real quick because this is very important in our efforts to demonstrate unity as a people, right? So, the attainment of virtue he accounteth as the highest learning. We have to obtain virtues. The only way to get to virtues, to live a virtuous life and to understand the virtues that that have been allotted to us, it requires us to go through the purification process. Where we have to purify ourselves, our flesh, purify our minds. You got to purify yourself. So that means you gotta detox. You gotta cleanse, man. Stop eating the same stuff. Stop listening to the same stuff. Stop doing the same stuff. Stop doing the same stuff you've been doing. If you can't find those virtues, but you purify yourself, get in tune with the higher self and the lower self. See, the higher self is the mother of virtues and the harmonies of life that breeds justice, mercy, love, and right. So that in order to get to that virtuous life, because that's the highest learning, it requires us to be in our higher self. So everybody that can hear my voice, please take this away from tonight when reflecting on your experience on this enlightened path. Recognize the distinction between your higher self and your lower self. The lower self is the flesh, the carnal, the body of desires. The higher self, that's the mother of the virtues and the harmonies of life that breeds justice, mercy, love, and right. So the side of you and I and us that breeds justice, mercy, love, and right. That's the goal. That's where we got to get to. So that means you got to be more merciful on people. You got to forgive some people, man. People make mistakes. It's human nature. Comes with this flesh that we're in. But our ability to obtain these virtues, which is simply through discipline and obedience to our higher self, which simply comes by purification. Purify yourself. Drink more water. Everybody should be drinking half your body weight in ounces of water per day. So whatever your body weight is, divide it by 2 and convert it to ounces. That's how much you should be drinking every day in water. This alone will purify. And it's something I strongly advocate for. A lot of us just aren't hydrated enough. So drink some water. Cleanse your mind. Cleanse the body. Okay. And the second part of this instruction I want to touch on is that it says, and the science of happiness is the study of his life. So that's after you get the virtues, though. Okay. So once we get to our higher self and we purify, like, all right, next I know I'm vibrating on a higher frequency. And guess what? When man at his best, here comes Satan. Right when we are at our best, here comes the devil or Satan or the lower self trying to pull you into that lower vibrational behavior. Don't you do it. It's a test. Remember the unity. Unity with Allah, unity with your brothers and your sisters, unity with yourself. It requires you to recognize this higher self, this lower self. Stay on the path of righteousness. It doesn't mean you're a punk. It doesn't mean you're weak. It means you demonstrate mercy, which again comes from the higher self. So let me pause for a moment. And we're going to see if there's any questions. Then we're going to transition back in momentarily if we don't have any. But are there any questions or comments that we need to address? Oh man, I'm gonna step back inside because I gotta put my phone on the charger. I don't want this to cut off on y'all. But bless holy day. We get inside, I'm gonna elaborate a little bit more. But I think it's something we really gotta take to heart as a people. Are we unifying? Are we boasting in superior understanding? We recognizing that everybody got something to bring to the table. And if we honor each other for our peace, then guess what? All is well. So now we're about to switch to another portion real quick. Let me see. Let me get up here and charge this phone. Ooh-wee. Y'all, thank y'all for bearing with me. I've been living a busy life, so we haven't been having these every Friday, but we're back on the map. And they will be live in action every Friday. So let me switch gears now. So we got unity, right? We got the ideas and the concepts around how to unify within ourselves and with Allah. Now I want to read something else. And this is entitled Caveat Emptor. And I like to read this one, and it can be somewhat heavy, but it is what it is. I think this is a very important instruction that we bring to all of us as we're on this path of enlightenment. Because there's going to be some stuff. And it's going to look one way, and it's really not going to be that way. But let's talk about it. So Caveat Emptor. This is an article I'm about to read. It came from the Moorish Guide, which was essentially a compilation of newspapers that Noble Drew Ali had published and put on the scene while he was in the flesh. And we've compiled them in what we call today Moorish literature. So this is the booklet that I have that has quite a few of them compiled together. And this is what I'm going to touch on now. But Caveat Emptor. This was published on Friday, March 1st, 1929. And I think this is, in a lot of these ancient lessons, they're applicable today. We're in 2024. We're coming up on almost 100 years in which some of this stuff was published. And some of us never even heard of it. So that's something to think about. Why was the truth and the science about Noble Drew Ali and Marcus Garvey, why was that suppressed? I ain't gonna get into that. Let me read this. Friday, March 1st, 1929. Caveat emptor. Moors are men, upright, independent, and fearless, who care for their loved ones and follow the Prophet to a destiny which is neither uncertain nor unknown. They are fortified by the impregnable doctrine built upon love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. It is therefore folly at its greatest height for smelly culprits with their insidious plans to invade such realm. They try and try, but their own bad planning bring down wrath upon their head like the sword old Damocles had. Intrigue and scurrilous cunnings find a difficult path to travel within the ranks of the Moors. This is so because the Moorish movement has been well planned by Prophet Noble Drew Ali, whose latent powers are abundant, unknown, and may be called into action as a matter of defense at any moment. Prophet Noble Drew Ali knows the people within his ranks who are interested. They are the vanguard of the movement as the Moorish hordes increase here in America. All of the Moors are active, not passive. A member's interest can only be in one direction. And having traveled over the road years before, the Prophet knows where every member is along the road. A few feet below is another road where schemers work, where traitors grin, and culprits bask in the sun. They think they are on the same road with true Moors, but the Moors are high above on a pinnacle where they might view the destructionists as they fall for the last time and their bones bleach in the sultry midday sun. Hungry scavengers flying high catch scent, devour, and leave crying out, Caveat emptor. Cast out the dead carcass. The Moors high above see the plotters, purveyors, the worst that exists, hurl themselves downward by their own works as the hawks wait. Islam. Let me just talk to y'all now. Why did I read that? Because when we are on this path of growth, development, knowledge of self, a lot of different things that we're on, but we're just going to generalize it as the enlightened path. Okay, when you're on this path, you have to remain genuine and sincere on what you're doing, because remember, it is all for your own approbation. You have to study to show thyself approved. These are lessons and instructions to help us comprehend and understand more science teachings, which is essentially the study of self, about our ancient history as a people, way before we got branded through European psychology as Negroes, blacks, and colored folks. Let's stop all that. Let's get to the truth. And a part of that is going to require us to be firm with ourselves. And like I read in Carradine Tour, the Moorish hordes are increasing here in America. There's a whole lot of people who know that we're not niggas, black folks, or colored folks. We're Moors. Now, how you go about and live your life as a Moor, now that you know, the expectation is that you first are going to live by the principles of love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. That's simple. You're going to apply love to your situations and circumstances before you act in hate. Okay? You're going to tell the truth before you lie and promote and accept falsehood. You're going to be peaceful before you promote war instead of war. You're going to stand for freedom instead of enslavement. And you're going to stand for justice instead of injustice. And when we recognize these universal principles that apply to everyone, regardless of your perceived race, your perceived religion, your chosen religion, all that is great, fine and dandy. Believe what you want to believe, pray to who you pray to, but just make sure you show some love, man. Practice these principles. That's what we're working on. And in our Holy Quran, we got instructions to help us out. In the Bible, we got instructions to help us out. In the words of Buddha, we got instructions to help us out. The Annals of Confucius, he got instructions to help us out. The Quran, it has instructions to help us out. Are you getting it? See, the universal Allah has provided us all with remedies and resolutions. And as I read in the chapter on unity, hath he enlightened thy mind with the knowledge of truth? And also remember that this gift, the gift of the understanding, is a treasure of Allah. So whatever you understand, it's a treasure. Go communicate it. And this is the simple aspect of these lessons in Moorish science, man. We don't want to make it complicated. So I hope you can feel comfortable and confident knowing that through this collaborative work with Elevate the Family, and honest to our wonderful network, Elevate the Family Entertainment. It just sounds amazing, don't it? Elevate the family. That's what I'm talking about. Don't the family need to be elevated? You know the best way to elevate the family? Teach them nationality. Nationality, by legal definition, is the quality of character which arises from the fact that a person belongs to a nation. So when you understand you belong to a nation, there's certain things that you're going to have to conduct and act differently and be responsible for before you do certain things. You represent a lot of people. And it's your character that we're talking about. Didn't a wise man once say that one day people will be judged not by the color of their skin, but by the content of their character? Man, oh man. Sound like nationality to me. That's what we need to identify and understand here. Not in any divisive sense, but to unify, because the human family is only recognized by nationalities. And once we recognize that, then we can talk more about human rights and really get into building and doing what's necessary in equality and justice for all. But as long as we keep denying our connection to the human family because we want to be things that do not denote to the human family, like Negroes, black folks, color folks, Ethiopians, African Americans, I love my people. So I'm not saying any of this to demean or to hurt or to degrade, disrespect or insult in any way, shape, or form. No, I love you. But I always knew my whole life that something was wrong. They kept calling me black, and I'm like, I'm really brown. What they keep saying that for? You calling people white? They're not white. This don't make sense. And that's another important element of Moorish science is that you have to think for yourself. These are some simple things that once we become accustomed to the values of this nation and these principles that our beloved Prophet Noble Drew Ali brought, and we give honor to him for doing that because he did it. And it still is applicable to us 100 years later. If not now, maybe more than ever. Because the fourth and fifth generations are here. It's amongst us. New Moors are coming into the temple with their eyes wide open, seeing and knowing. It's a lot of people waking up. So now let's focus on unifying and really applying these instructions, starting with ourselves and then how we treat others. So, yeah, man, this is fun work. Every Friday you can expect us to be here. We'll be more consistent. Thank you for your patience as we've been adjusting some things. But we're here. We back on track. And excited to propagate the faith. But I would like to make it a little more interactive. So there's moments, and now's a moment. If you got questions around nationality, even if you got questions and things that you may not have heard us speak on or touch on yet, feel free. If you got a particular topic or subject matter that you would like for us to lead a discussion around in one of these classes, one of these holiday meetings, then let me know. But this is for you, the audience, the listening audience. This is intended to uplift fallen humanity and elevate the family, man. I love it. So remember how important nationality is. And even if you're not Moorish American, you still got to learn your nationality. If you're walking around here calling yourself white, you need to know the truth about who you are, because people are not colors. Okay? You're not white. People aren't white. People aren't black. Black and white are misnomers, meaning they're not proper labels. They're not proper terms. They're not proper nouns. It's not the proper way to identify a person. So you got to really ask yourself, why would people keep pushing this? And the answer, I believe, is just a little bit of ignorance on some of us. I know I was once there, so I don't boast of superior understanding, because I'm praise Allah for the sheiks and the grand sheiks and the governing heads and the members and the faithful who I stumbled across, and these people poured into me. It took time to talk to me. They answered my questions. They hosted holiday meetings like this, and they would talk and break stuff down. And I was like, wow. And over time, I really began to grow and understand it. And it wasn't until I truly applied it. So I encourage everybody to do the same, man. Don't be too hard on yourself or wherever you are in life. There's always room for growth and development. Just know that time is now. So, So we talked about some unity tonight, some clarity and instructions on how to obtain it. We went over Caveat Emptor tonight, which was a excerpt from the Moorish literature that essentially is letting people know that, hey, Moors are men, upright, independent, and we are fortified by the impregnable doctrine that's built upon love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. Meaning we love this logo Circle 7, for real, for real. This ain't just jewelry. This is not just a necklace. No, this is a real lifestyle, because this booklet right here, plus this one, these two, hold on. These two things changed my life. Yeah, it's a little bitty booklet, and a little bitty scroll with the angel on the front with his one foot on the land, 1 foot on the sea. Okay? Read Revelations 10:5 in your Bible. Let me say that again. Go look at Revelations 10, verse 5. This is the scroll that's being spoken about, that you're supposed to take and eat it. This is it. Take it and eat it. Digest it. Process it. Use it for substance, for nourishment for your body, because it will do so. But these two right here, our Prophet Noble Drew Ali said, I brought you everything it takes to save the nation. Now take it and save yourself. This is it. This is our primary guiding teaching tools. We'll reference other things throughout these meetings. However, just remember that more science is simple. It ain't rocket science. Keep it simple. Okay. So with that being said, we're going to lower the meeting where we do handle some business aspects. So first of all, Act 3. Act 3 is the lawful and divine duty of every good member, if he is able in finance, to aid me in saving the nation. And if he does not, he is an enemy to the cause of uplifting his own people. Injustice must catch you. Let it be he or she, according to love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice, as I have the power invested in my hands, and I have to enforce the law in order to save the nation. So, Act 3, we just read that. Our beloved hostess has put it on the screen. Opportunity you can donate to the temple, because it does cost finance to do some of this work. You see, to print off this stuff and the travel do what we got to do. But we love and appreciate your energy, your time. That is the greatest gift and presents you can get. Let me go ahead and read a few more of these formalities to close out this meeting as we begin to lower the meeting. But as you can see, the temple cash app that you can donate to is right there, MSTA Healing Center. So feel free, or just keep listening and keep showing up. Tell your friends and your family about it. So let me read these two excerpts from the Moorish literature. And then we're gonna lower the meeting. And it's important that we read this, and that's something too I want to touch on too briefly, because I got a little bit of time. Okay. There's a lot of formal things that we do in here. Like we open up with honors, we read the Divine Constitution and bylaws every meeting, we close out with this. Why? There's a structure and this order for the enlightened paths. It's a path. You ever walk the path without any, without no direction on it, man, you may just be spinning in circles. But that path, you're getting closer and closer to the light. Come to the light. Come on. We are the revealers of the light. We got a lot of light to show you. So these formal things that we read, these are the parts that keep us on one accord. So you hear me sharing my portion and my thoughts, but I'm truth and falsehood strangely mixed. I don't have it all figured out. What you hear from me is you're seeing me communicate what Allah has given me to the ignorant for their instructions, and I'm communicating it to the wise for that own improvement. So if you're a wise individual, feel free to follow up with me and give me some feedback around my feedback. I love it. I welcome it. Always remember this too, and then I'm going to read these, is that here in the Moorish Science Temple of America, we welcome constructive criticism inside and outside of our ranks. So if you have some constructive criticism to bring it. You don't have to be in our ranks. You just have to have courage for truth. Now, number 26 from the Moorish literature. To be proclaimed at every meeting, Islam. I am glad to know that I have a few faithful Moors amongst you all, and I desire for them to know the truth and the divine truth. There's a host of jealousy about me and the movement now by the same people of our side of the nation that claim that I was only a joke and unreal. But now, since they have found out from the government officials and the nations of the earth that this is the only sole foundation that all Asiatics must depend upon for their earthly salvation as American citizens, they are working every scheme that they can to disqualify me, so they may take charge of the situation. I have notified all these things to you long ago in the past. It is through the faithful Moors that attribute to the movement and uplifting funds. The ones that paid their divine respect to me and the movement will be remembered. That is why I am calling upon all faithful Moors to increase their faithfulness to me, your prophet, and your divine Moorish movement. I need finance and I need it badly. Never before have I needed finance so badly as I do at present, so I can shove aside the discord that is facing the nation. It all comes through jealousy, because of my fame and nobility. The nations of the world will not recognize the movement without I, the prophet, being head. It has been proven by my works, which I have performed in the past few years, Prophet Noble Drew Ali. To the members of the Moorish Science Temple of America, Islam. This is the instruction from your prophet, Noble Drew Ali. Be faithful unto your forefathers' divine and national creed, that you will be blessed for your good deeds that you sow in the flesh. Allah is the one that judges the world, and his judgment is now on. But the weak can comprehend it not. The end of time is drawing near, so says Allah to his divine prophet, I, Noble Drew Ali. And that's why many hearts have been turned to stone, and many have eyes to see, but cannot see, ears to hear, but cannot hear. Least they will be confounded of their sins. These are the trying hours now, dear Moors, and every evil spirit is moving, and they are trying every weak mind to overthrow and drag out the true foundation that has been laid, and to cause confusion in the minds of the ones that do believe. But if you have the true love of Allah and the spirit of your forefathers, you fear not what you hear or see, but will sacrifice the utmost of your very life to protect your movement and your prophet. Watch your enemies, dear Moors. Your enemies are the ones that speak against your prophet and ridicule him to the very lowest, and the ones that speak against your divine and national principles of your temples. Act accordingly, and Allah will bless you for your good work. Peace, your divine prophet, Noble Drew Ali. Islam, Islam. So, thank you all, the listening audience. We appreciate you. We hope that tonight's Holy Day meeting was of some value to you, and you would continue to come back, continue to share this information. We do look forward to eventually being in a physical location, definitely in Rockford, excuse me, but wherever you might be. We have temples all around the country, all around the world. Every Friday, every holy day, this is going on. Different speakers, different teachers, different lessons and interpretations, but from the same authority, the Moorish Science Temple of America. So with that, we're going to close out with our prayer. The way we perform our Moorish American prayer, and you can perform it with me, or you can just listen, or you can watch. You can do whatever your heart desires. However, I want to make sure you're aware. We stand with our heels touching at a 90-degree angle. 5 on the left, 2 on the right at eye level. And we recite the Moorish American prayer. Allah, Father of the universe, Father of love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. Allah is my protector, my guide, and my salvation. By night and by day, it was Holy Prophet, Drew Ali. Amen. Islam, Islam, Islam. Thank you all for your time. I love you all. Peace and love. See you next week. We out. Actually, sis, you want to put that video up?